Hi everybody, I am Zehra and today I'm going to talk about the fourth chapter of critical thinking. Let's get started. Firstly, we are going to talk about finding the right words, the need for precision, to communicate clearly, to defend our claims without confusing or misleading anyone, and to assess the truth of premises presented to us in arguments of others. We must insist that language in context of argumentation be clear and precise. For example, Swiss shop laborers earn minimal pay working in suffocating conditions in factories owned by American corporations. They claim that economic realities force them to participate in this practice. And when it comes to vagueness, it means a word or a group of words is vague when its meaning is fuzzy and inexact. For example, are such people rich? It is hard to say because the word rich isn't precious enough to provide a clear answer. And the other example is everyone would agree that President Obama is middle aged. No definite answer can be given because the word middle age has no clear and distinct meaning. And when it comes to overgenerality, vagueness is often confused with overgenerality. Words are vague if they have fuzzy or inexact boundaries and hence give rise to unclear borderline cases. In contrast, words are overgeneral if the information they provide is too broad and unspecific in given context. For example, teacher said, Johnny, what is the 7 plus 5? Johnny said more than 2. And the other example is, mother, when will you go? Will you be back home? Teenager said later. The phrase more than two, for example, give rise no troublesome broadline cases. The problem with this answer is not vagueness, but the overgenerality. The answers are not specific enough to count as satisfactory answer in the context indicated. And when it comes to ambiguity, a word or expression is ambiguous if it has two or more distinct meanings and the context does not make clear which meaning is intended. Here is some example. The first example is Joe went to the bank. Bank in the sense of a financial institution or bank in the sense of slope boarding on a river, or could it be a sperm bank? It's not clear. And John called. John Smith or John Brown? It's also not clear. And when it comes to faulty sentence structure, as a young girl, her father often told her stories about the Wild West. Her grandfather was never a young girl. And syntactical ambiguities that result from faulty grammar or word or order are called syntactical ambiguities. For example, dogs for sale, eat anything, and especially fond of children. And two sisters reunited after 18 years in the checked out line. And there are four types of definition. The first is speculative definition, lexical definition, persuasive definition, and pressing definition. The first type of definition is stipulative definition. If you ever created a new word or used an old word in an entirely new way, you have provided a stipulative definition. That's you explain your readers what is you mean by the term. For example, lotolic means someone who is obsessed with playing the lottery. The second type of definition is persuasive definition. An arguer defines a term in an effort to persuade a reader to agree with the arguer's point of view. For example, capital punishment means the infliction of appropriate punishment on whistleblowers who have no regard for life. And the third type of definition is lexical definition. The purpose of lexical definition is to state the conventional dictionary meaning of a word. For example, extract means a heavy fabric used to cover a floor. And the last definition is pressing definition. A pressing definition is intended to make vague word or more precious so that the word's meaning is not left to the interpretation of the reader. For example, a heavy smoker for purpose of this clinical trade is anyone who smokes more than 24 cigarettes per day. And there are some strategies for defining, like ostensive definition, synonyms definition, enumerative definition, definition by subclass, definition by genus and difference, and etymological definition. Let's have a look them deeply. The first is ostensive definition, which consists in simply pointing to or demonstrating the thing being defined. For example, dur means this, as you point to the one for the benefit of a foreign visitor, or public means this, as you demonstrate your latest dance moves. The other definition is enumerative definition, that is to provide specific example of what the word refers to. For example, actors means Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Nicolas Cage, and so on. When it comes to definitions by subclass, assign a meaning to a word by listing subclasses of the general class to which the word refers. For example, mammal means gorilla, horse, lion, hare, and so forth. And poems means sonnet, limerick, haiku, epic, ode, and the like. When it comes to etymological definition, a good dictionary tells what part of speech word is, how it's commonly pronounced, and whence it came. For example, automobile comes from the Greek autos, meaning self, and the French mobile from the Latin mobilis, meaning move, and the automobile is self-move or self-propelled. And when it comes to synonyms definition, another word that has the same meaning as the word being defined, here is two examples. Loquacious means talkative and deleterious means harmful. And when it comes to definition by genus and difference, it means assign a meaning to a word by identifying a general class to which things named by the word belong, and then specifying a differentiating quality that distinguishes those things from all other things in the class. For example, buck means male deer and calf means young cow. And here are lots of rules for constructing good lexical definition. Let's have a look at them. The first is, don't make the definition too broad or too narrow. For example, a definition of automobile as a vehicle with four wheels would be too broad because it would include golf carts and lawn movers, and sibling as brother would be too narrow because it fails to include sisters and convey the essential meaning of the word being defined. Expressing the essential meaning of word can be very difficult and often requires specialized knowledge. And provide a context for ambiguous words. Many words are ambiguous, that is, they have two or more distinct meanings. For example, a walk in baseball is different from walk in the park. And we should avoid figurative definition. For example, slot machine means one-armed bandit. Advertising means legalized lying, and religion means the flight of the alone to the alone. And we should avoid needlessly obscure definition. And for example, mouse means a quadrilateral mammalian of any of the more diminutive and species of the genus Mus of the order Rodentia. And we also should avoid circular definition. Etymologist means someone who engages in the science of etymology. Gambler means someone who gambles. And when it comes to emotive language, slang the truth, emotive language more overtly reveals a writer's attitude and feelings toward the subject than precious, neutral, and more objective language does. And it is intended to create in the reader the same attitude and feeling toward the subject rather than increase the reader's knowledge about it. For example, close relationship, relatively small classes, a dedicated faculty. Emotive language in an argument is intended to move a reader by agitating, disturbing, angering, or exciting them. When it comes to euphemism and political correctness, euphemism mild, comforting, or evasive words that take the place of harsh, blunt, or taboo words. For example, refer to that as passing away or passing on, and downsizing itself an euphemism for firing can evoke for an anger from the works or citizens. That was my presentation. Thank you for listening.